Hi guys and gals, kittens, and welcome to the I Need a Magic show. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can wrap your PostgreSQL database securely into an HTTP web API, allowing you to access it from, for instance, iOS or your Android SDK app or a web app front end or whatever really. So this video is going to feature two things: how to create CRUD API, how to secure it. And in addition, it's also going to show you how you can have an authentication endpoint that asks the user for a username and a password that gives you back a JWT token that you need in order to be able to actually access the web API. So first things first, now I have to blur things a little bit here. Hopefully I'm going to be able to hit the correct height of this window now, because I'm going to go into my databases here. And basically what I have here now is the ability to connect to an external database. And below here, where it says connection strings, I have already created a connection string. I just created a connection, a PostgreSQL database in our Kubernetes cluster. However, it doesn't matter where you have it. You can have it in Azure, you can have it in AWS, you can have it in Supabase. As long as you have the ability to somehow remotely access that database, you can connect to it, choosing PostgreSQL here. Then you give your connection string a name. I called mine Postgres. Whoops, that's the name of mine. And then I pasted a connection string in here. The very crucial importance here as you do this is that you need to exchange your database catalog to this exact string of characters. Database with those funny parentheses around. The reasons for that is because Magic backend will dynamically replace the database name with whatever database you happen to be wanting to connect to. I cannot show you what is beneath this line here, because that would show you a real connection string, which I do not want to disclose for security reasons. So now let me show you how to first of all create a new role. So when you have a web API like this, you typically want to have a role that you associated with users. And unless a user is authenticated and belonging to that particular role, you don't want to give that user access to invoking the web API. So I'm just going to add a new role here. I'm going to call it add role Postgres, and then I can optionally provide the description required to access my PostgreSQL backend. Okay, save. Then I'm going to, just for kicks, create a new user, call it PG with a password of PG, very complex, full name, PG, email address, pg@inido.io, and then I'm going to disassociate it with guest, and I'm going to associate it with the Postgres role. I need 12 characters. Okay, let's just choose some random unsecure password here. So the username is PG, and my password are some random letters of gibberish, more or less. So now I want to go to SQL Studio, where I previously mentioned I already did connect to my PostgreSQL database server. And from before, I've created one simple database in my PostgreSQL database, which is called CRM. And it contains two tables, accounts and contacts. I used the ChatGPT here, the prompt here where the machine creates the code, to just populate it with some random gibberish. So if I do select all from accounts, function control space, autocomplete, then I'm getting all the accounts, and there's like 29 random company names here. And then there's like something similar with contacts. The only account that actually has contacts, because it's a one-to-many relationship, is the Acme Inc. company though. Here we can see Alice at example.com, Bob, Charlie, David, etc. So I basically have a database with two tables. However, this could be any existing database you have. You can take your existing CRM database if you want to, your existing WordPress database if you want to, your whatever. Now I'm going to go to create endpoint generator. Then I'm going to choose my PostgreSQL database called CRM. as you probably remember. PostgreSQL connection string, CRM database, as you can see here, it says it's got 2 tables. Then I want to change the authorization here from admin, and I want to be PostgreSQL and root. You might want to have root, otherwise it's difficult to debug the endpoint. So now I have changed the authorization requirements for the CRUD generator, and then let's do ta-da, and I'm done. I now basically have 441 lines of code that was automatically generated for me, wrapping every single CRUD endpoint in my PostgreSQL database. And I can already verify that by go to Manage Endpoints, and then I can search for CRM, I think. CRM, and here you see. So now if I invoke this one, it's going to count how many accounts I have in my system. If I invoke this one, it's going to return my accounts, etc., etc. Now, if you are wondering about what the actual URL of the endpoints are, you can just copy and paste it here. So if I now do, for instance, this one, I now have it copied to my clipboard. However, if I try to access it in anonymous mode without my JWT token, I get access denied. So I need the authentication token in order to be able to actually retrieve items from my PostgreSQL database. However, I basically have 10 HTTP endpoints. And now I can immediately start consuming these endpoints. If you look at the structure here, you see get, delete, get, post, and put. If I invoke the post endpoint, for instance, company name, howdy, and I try it out, this is going to insert a new company into my PostgreSQL database, at which point I can invoke, and I can do limit 1, offset order, account ID, direction, descending. Now it's going to return my howdy company, the one I just recently inserted. You see it's got an account ID of 32. So now what you want to do, we have these 10 endpoints, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What we need in addition, we need an authentication endpoint. I'm going to be creating one from scratch just for kicks, which allows me inside of the module called CRM here now to authenticate. Login.get.hl allows the client to log in. Arguments, user name, string, password, string. So this one is going to be returning JWT token, at which point we need to filter on authenticate up here. Let me see. Toolbox. You know what? I think I actually need to save this guy, and then I need to go to my plugins, and then I need to actually install the registration module. So let me install the plugin called registration module here. And let me go back to HyperID here, and then let me choose my authenticate, my login endpoint here. And then let me filter on auth here. And as you can see now, all of a sudden, I have a new action in my toolbox called authenticate. It takes a username, takes a password, and it returns a JWT token. We want to return the result of our last action back to the caller. So now I can filter on return dash, return last action, save it. Now, if I actually go back to my endpoints and I find login, CRM, I invoke it with my username being, what was it, PG? And I invoke it with my rubbish password. For the record, I don't use this password any place. It's a part of a leak for the record. You see, it actually returns a JWT token. Now I can actually use this token. If I copy this token and I open, for instance, Postman, let me see if I have a little bit of luck. I can get this completely up working locally from Postman. And let's wait for Postman to initialize. And I now create a new invocation. I pass in authorization. Oh, thank you, Postman. But Postman is a piece of junk. The only reasons why I'm using it is because everybody else is using it. So I need it for my freaking YouTube videos. It's garbage software. Now I create another one here. I choose get. I pass in authorization. I do a bearer token. I pass in my token here. And I find the URL for instance, the contacts get buggers here, or let's do the accounts bugger. Copy that guy, invoke it, and ta-da, I'm getting items from my backend API. So anyways, that was it for today's video. We created 441 lines of code plus approximately 20 lines of code to authenticate and authorize. And for the record, if I wanted to now, I could also copy my login endpoint here, right? And I can pass in username and password. As you can see, it copied the entirety. This one returns the JWT token that I need for consecutive invocations towards my PostgreSQL database CRUD API endpoint. Anyways, thank you for watching. That was it for today's video. Have a nice day.